What's up, guys? I am pretty tired right now and I wanted to make a beat that kind of resembles how I'm feeling, which is just pretty relaxed but also tired, and it's going to be pretty nice. Let's get to it. My first sound's from an automated synth called Cube. It's a synth pad with some modulation, and if you really want to have a nice spacious sound, you want to make the chords pretty big. If you really want your chords to be like pretty big, make them like this and not just like triads, because if they're just like triads, it won't sound as like big and anthemic. So having some extra notes is going to really help you give you that big sound. I can show you a quick way how to do that. So for an example, I'm going to place a C note right here. Now I'm going to turn it to a major chord, so E, G. But to make this sound bigger, I'm going to take this note C, pitch it up all the way up here, and then I'm going to choose E, pitch it up like that, and then you'll get this instead of this. That was in a different key, but it was just more of an example on how to build your chords. And here are these chords I have right here in front of you. For the effects, all I have is an EQ, around 50 coming off the low end. And then down here, I have the stereo up just a little bit so it's more wider. Next, I have a vocal trap from Arcade. This one had quite a bit of processing. Use a little ultra board to pitch it up an octave higher and to give it another kind of cool texture. For the EQ, took a lot of lows off and some highs. Then I used Space Blender to really give it that nice ambient texture. It's kind of a mix of a delay and reverb, which is pretty cool. And then I'm using one knob filter just for some extra emphasis on just that muffled effect. Next, I have some bell sound from Cube as well. All I did was just follow some notes from the chords just so I had some kind of guideline, and I just chose notes that I thought sounded good. I chose a preset that didn't have too much of an echo effect so that it wasn't just overpowering everything else. And then for my EQ, just took off some lows as well. This next sound, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how to classify this, so I'll just kind of let it speak for itself. And then for my melody, I'm just following top line notes from my chords as a guideline. So first, I used an effect called Crystallizer. It's more of an audio grain manipulation kind of plugin, and it just really gives it that kind of grit and randomness to the sound. Then I'm using one knob filter again for that good muffle effect. Then I have Pan to have it automate the pan so it's not in one place. Of course, Space Blender for that echo and that reverb effect to give it that nice distant sound. And then some EQ and took off the lows again so that it's not clashing with like the bass and stuff. And then finally from the JV1080, I have a bass. I think it's just a regular sub bass with just a lot of saturation because it feels kind of like very powerful, like forceful. For the effects, I just took off some highs because I didn't want this bass to like mess with the harmonies with the other melodies. But as for the other melodies, I did the exact opposite. I took off the low so they weren't fighting with the frequencies the bass would have. Because when I make ambient beats, I really like the bass to have almost all the low end that it can have. So that has like that good presence in the whole entire mix. Because I like to turn it down a little bit so it's not too loud, but I still want to feel it. And I added some compression for some good consistent volume because the bass was kind of going up and down a little bit and I needed to stay in place. And now we're onto the drums. This is the easier part because I didn't want this to do too much. I'll start with the snares. So I have just the main snare that hits on a third of each hit, and then to accompany that snare I have another snare that kind of acts like a perk, if that makes sense. The first snare has some reverb on it, but I have the mix relatively drier so that it's not too overpowering. And then for my second snare, as you heard, I have pan so that it switches and automates by itself for the panning. The next I have some kind of perk. It's more like a knocking kind of effect. I know I have no effects on it. All I did was just pan it all the way to the right. The next sound is my kick. And when I tell you it's literally just 3 hits, I'm not even joking. It's like so simple. For the effect, I EQ'd it, but I just chose a preset called Kick in the Parametric EQ. Then lastly, I have a simple hi-hat pattern 2-step, messed with the velocity just a little bit, and added no effects. And as the beat, I'll play it for you. If you enjoyed this video, like and comment down below. Subscribe if you're new. And also if you want to, let me know down in the comments if you want me to make a tutorial on like what sounds to use or what effects I use to make chill beats. Because I'd love to make a video about that, and if you want to know, then I wouldn't mind telling you some stuff. Until then, see you in the next one.